Welcome to the Juice Box with Juice Springsteen, covering the week that was in professional wrestling. And welcome to a very, very special weekend of the Juice Box. This week you get 2 episodes. It's Memorial Day weekend, it's double pay-per-view weekend, 3 if you count NXT. But for the Juice Box, myself and Josh Isenberg detail, rundown, and full-fledged predict the AEW Double or Nothing and WWE Night of Champions cards in full, both this weekend. First, you're going to be getting this Night of Champions predictions that we recorded for the show tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're on the West Coast, 10 is the start time. Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Myself and Josh Isenberg detail the entire card, run it down, and give our predictions. Had a great time with him, and cannot wait to watch the show and see how it unfolds and to see how wrong we really were. But without further ado, here's Josh, myself, and the Night of Champions predictions on the Juice Box. And we are here in the Juice Box, but it's not just me in the Juice Box. It's pay-per-view prediction weekend, a double pay-per-view prediction weekend. I messed that up, but we're still going to go with it because there's a triple main event on Saturday, 1 main event on Sunday, 2 separate shows, two separate episodes of this show. We are going to do it. Josh Isenberg, Juice Springsteen. Josh, how are you doing, man?
I am doing delightful. A double pay-per-view weekend. I feel bad for anybody that knows me, that knows I'm going to be spending about 8 hours in front of my television. It's actually a triple pay-per-view if you throw NXT in there, but we're not going to talk about NXT.
I didn't even want to bring it up, but I was like, had triple main event, triple pay-per-view. I don't know what the hell's going on around here. So let's just dive right in. Saturday afternoon for people on the East Coast. Rough viewing for those on the West Coast, 10 a.m., 1 p.m. here. Who knows what time it is in Saudi Arabia, but we've got NOC, Night of Champions. Not all the titles are on the line, but a lot of them are. So first of all, let's just dive into what are your thoughts overall about this pay-per-view? Because it was supposed to be King and Queen of the Ring. Not only did they scrap it, but they changed it to Night of Champions and aren't even having a tournament for King or Queen of the Ring at all. So yeah, we got 7 matches and that's it. So what do you think?
I think it's all right. I mean, I think you have 3 or 4 interesting matches: Brock and Cody, Seth and AJ, because of the new championship, which we can talk about whenever we get to that, and obviously the tag team championship matches, which I was surprised that actually got on the card just because of the Saudi Arabia with Sami Zayn connection. He's never been there before, but now he is for the reasons that they mentioned about the government and everything kind of, I guess, working together with
right.
Whatever
I saw a picture of him
so,
earlier with him there, and he looked so thrilled to finally be able to do that and feel like it wasn't hurting anybody. So
yeah, and he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have gone if it was like he's very political in terms of his own beliefs and things.
He sticks with what he believes in, and he would not have gone had he not thought it was all good. So yeah, I'm good to see those guys over there.
Realistically, the only matches that I'm just like about are the 2 women's championship matches, because we still have the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown, the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. So just come on already.
We did this prediction show last month technically this month for Backlash, and we were like, well, after this show they're going to change everything. I wonder what happens. Nothing actually happened.
Nothing happened.
Both champions retained, and now they're both defending the same titles again.
It makes no sense. I don't have any idea. But I mean, I think overall they're going to be good wrestling matches, and it's for the first time in Saudi Arabia is not focused solely around a legend or a part-timer. It's nice that it's actually storylines that have meaning to it.
And we are getting a legend on this pay-per-view that doesn't normally wrestle. However, she's being used in a traditional storyline for once instead of just being brought in for hopefully more than one match, which is, Trish. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yep. Let's start off with the women's title matches, because considering you're not very in favor of them, let's get them out of the way. Let's go first with the upset of the Rhea Ripley. Last month we were like, you know what, Zelina Vega. She's in her home country. It's going to be a great ovation. It'll be fantastic. We watched it live. Unbelievable, emotional, all the superlatives for Zelina Vega. And then she got beaten up. and destroyed by Rhea
Yeah.
Ripley.
Yeah.
And now somehow we as fans are supposed to believe that Natalya, who I could not tell you the last time she had a women's title match, is going to be the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley. I have a hunch that says you're gonna think she doesn't quite make it.
Well, it's interesting. Like, why does she get a chance at Rhea's championship?
I don't
Like,
know.
there's been nothing. There's been no match that she's won. I'll be honest with you. I don't know the last time she actually won a match, to be completely honest with you. It's been a long time since I remember her really dominating or even getting multiple championships. I mean, I know in SummerSlam many, many years ago, she won the championship. But, you look at her career, people say she's a legend, and nothing against her personally, but she's never been that main event number one female in WWE,
No.
even when Total Divas and the Divas Revolution and things like that came about. She just never was. It's a shame because I think she could have been if in early 2010, 2013, before the crop of NXT women came up. She was kind of misused, but she just got lost in the shuffle. And I think this is just, again, an opportunity for Rhea to get on the card. She is their most dominant woman right now, and I see another dominant victory for her here.
I tend to agree, and I agree with you too. To an extent, I wouldn't necessarily call Natalya a legend, but you did bring up the point of she was. So on this card, we kind of have all three kind of variations. We have Trish Stratus, who came from the Attitude Era. It's tougher for women to get on the card, and then they finally did. And then even so, like they main evented a Raw, but they were still, degraded for the most part. Then you have Natalya, who kind of bridged that gap. I call it the Bella era, the Divas era, where they were taken a little more seriously. They were given another title. They were given more storylines. Yet there still seem to be some pitfalls there. And then, of course, now we have the new generation, the new WWE women's generation with Becky Lynch, Rhea, Bianca, just unbelievable talent. Asuka again on this card, which now they're celebrated. They're almost the tops of each pay-per-view or PLE. They have some of the best matches. And, I tend to agree that Natalya has not really had anything going for a long time. So for me to say, oh, well, she'll have a shot here, it's just tough for me to buy that. Now, I'm interested. I like whenever they kind of throw these, quote, random matches together because it is that. It is random. I don't have any expectation for Natalya versus Rhea Ripley, and maybe it'll be more than 5 minutes. Maybe. I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
But, I would love to be surprised as well. All I'm getting at there. I just don't see a victory for Natalya, at least a pinfall victory. God, could you imagine if she won by DQ or something? But she got the big victory over Rhea Ripley. But no, I'm going to go with Mommy. Yeah, that's right. Let's go to the other women's title match, the Raw women's title match, which is defended by a SmackDown superstar. Bianca Belair defends against Asuka. Now, did we not just see this match?
We did.
So why do we think that anything else would happen here that's not Bianca retaining? Because to me, and we've said it all a million times, Jane Cena, is she going to do it again? Yeah. Is she going to overcome the mist of Asuka? I ask you, Josh Isenberg, does she?
Oh, man. I think the odds are heavy in the favorite of Bianca, and I think Bianca will actually win this match. But I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled a championship off of Bianca and gave it to Asuka and have Asuka versus Bianca go to Money in the Bank, potentially go to SummerSlam. And again, they need to, these are both SmackDown superstars competing for the Raw title. So just change the titles for crying out loud. Just you swap them for Pete's sake. So it's just, that doesn't make sense. And that bothers me, but I'll put $1 on the line that Asuka wins because I can see them trying to shuffle and shift and shape things up on the SmackDown division. But again, it goes back to both these women are on SmackDown. So when you think about that, then what happens on SmackDown with the other women on the roster? Charlotte is definitely going to come back getting into the mix. So they really need to figure out how these women are going to be separated. I don't really think that they thought about that during the draft, that they're going to have such a heavy load of women on SmackDown like they do, with Bianca and with Charlotte and with Asuka. And there's a lot of really good women there. So I'm going to say Bianca, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, some way, Asuka won in a dirty fashion.
Well, while you're thinking about that, think about this. Bianca, I do think is going to retain here. But you brought up a lot of good points considering both are SmackDown competitors. We mentioned at Backlash about how, the things are going to change going forward after the show, and like they didn't really. This show in particular, again, same type of thing. Nothing really will probably change. But when you look at the landscape of WWE, the next, unless they do something in June, the next show will be Money in the Bank.
In
So
London,
this is right. So this is almost another reset of whoever's championed by Money in the Bank. If someone can win that case, then you can thrust a new competitor in there, maybe as a challenge to Bianca or Rhea going into SummerSlam, and once we start getting into the summer, going towards the fall. So I'm gonna stick with Bianca here. There's been nothing that has given me any inclination she should lose. And it's not that Asuka shouldn't be the one. It's just I've been given no reason to buy that she is the next one. So, and we have that problem almost across the board with these other matches. Like, why am I supposed to believe, Cody's supposed to win after beating Brock, but now he has another injury? Like, I'm just assuming this is gonna be a third match. Like, there's nothing that makes what they push forward that much more believable. We just get me over the threshold, make me believe Bianca can lose one match, please. So,
but Bianca, have her lose one match, because does it really affect her at the end of the day if she ends up dropping the championship? Because she can get it back pretty quickly,
and she can chase, of course,
and that'll get her hotter again. Because I think she's very complacent, not because of her talent or her ability, but she's been the same person. Yep. And then again, you look at the SmackDown roster. I mean, Zelina had her championship opportunity, right? You still have Bayley in Damage Control, albeit Dakota Kai being injured. So what's Bayley going to do on SmackDown? So you have Bayley, you have Charlotte, you have Bianca Belair, you have Asuka. Those are 4 women. Do you maybe you keep Bianca champion and have her compete against 3 others at SummerSlam, or triple threat or something at Money in the Bank? I just don't see her being in a one-on-one match and losing, I guess,
And I think I'm going to start being on board that train. I do agree there, and I think you could have someone like Asuka win the title in a triple threat or a fatal 4-way where it doesn't hurt the champion at all. It would never hurt Bianca if she were to lose that way. She doesn't even have to get pinned, necessarily. And that's where you can put, and I hate saying like lesser talents, but you could put a Natalya or then you could get a returning Charlotte, or you could get a Bayley. You could pluck different, insert different talents that across the board where maybe it's more believable that they're in this anybody could win match instead of doing one-on-one where it's almost, 99% leaning one way.
Agreed.
So let's get into the third and final women's match here. This is the one that I find more interesting than the rest, because Trish came back after not wrestling for so long, and 2019 SummerSlam had a great match with Charlotte. I thought she looked great, and Charlotte was the victor. Now fast forward 2023, 4 years later, and Trish is now going against another stalwart of this new women's generation, Becky Lynch. But now we have storylines built into it, and I got to be honest, the promos could have been a little bit better. I just don't think WWE necessarily plays to the strengths of the characters that they have on TV. Becky Lynch is a great promo. She could cut a promo every single week out in front of the live crowd. Trish Stratus is more suited for a backstage promo, maybe not even a pre-tape, just something where it's more loose and she's back there. Or, she doesn't necessarily have to be at the forefront in front of the audience to get her point across. Yet they've been doing that every week, and it's been very, very difficult to navigate this story when all we're focusing on is, Trish really she might have not lost anything in the ring or her looks or what have you, but her presentation, but her promo work, which never was a strong point. It's like, we're going to showcase her promo work, but she was never good at that. We knew what Trish was for 20 years, and now we're going to put her out in front of the live audience. So let's just put that aside. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be a good match, and I expect Becky and Trish to get the best out of both of them. And I'm hoping it goes to SummerSlam, and if that's the case, I'm picking Trish Stratus.
I'm picking Trish Stratus as well, because I do think it goes to SummerSlam. I think I'll be honest with you. I can realistically see both of these women in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Which would be cool. I'd
Continuing
love
their
to see Trish
feud.
in a Money in the Bank. She never got to do something like that, and I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and especially if you want to continue the feud but not have another one-on-one match at Money in the Bank, you could do the, best of three that WWE typically likes to do, 1-1 and then go for that final third match at a pay-per-view. But I'd prefer to see them both in the Money in the Bank ladder match with, 5 or 6 other women and get an opportunity to continue the feud there, having Trish potentially cost Becky a championship opportunity, and then they finally resolve their situation at SummerSlam. I do think Trish wins this match. I think Trish cheats to win. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how they get there, but I think it's interesting because, she turned her back and she, beat up, which caused Trish to be inserted in that women's championship match. Lita has to come back at some point, right? And exact her revenge, or Lita comes back and says, "Thank you for that attack. You finally woke me up to what these women, are doing to us now." Because realistically, the Lita Becky Lynch feud started at Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia last year. Yeah. So why would you have? I understand that the attack, it wouldn't make sense, but Lita and Trish have always been enemies in the ring, but in real life they've been best friends. So there's a lot of options here. I think the storyline continues, and I think Trish Stratus picks up the win here in a dirty heelish tactic. I'm not sure how you do it. Maybe she puts her feet on the ropes or something like that, where she just gets one over on the man. So interesting match, interesting feud. And you're right, though. The storyline is good, but the promo work from Trish Stratus needs to be better. Or spotlight her history. You're only giving us a few small clips of what she's done in her career. Give us more of her history, her backstory.
Right. And, maybe that's what they're trying to not do, because they referenced even the barking like a dog promo. Maybe they're trying to shy away from, Trish really didn't have too big of a career in WWE. She's only remembered for the good things. Let's not talk about those other things.
Exactly.
But you never know. I agree, though. Let's get Trish the win here. And, it doesn't hurt Becky to lose to Trish Stratus, for God's sake. She bona fide, Hall of Famer. But let's go into what I think could be an upset special, if you will. Okay. And right. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm believing it more and more as time goes on, and time's almost up. Is time up, though, for Gunther in this IC title reign? I know Mustafa Ali. No. I know Mustafa Ali has not, he's kind of been on this, resurgence of this new positive Ali character, which I don't really hate, although it seemed to be slightly buried as Brock Lesnar told him to get a life. I don't know what you're doing with that. I don't know why you pushed that, and then you have Brock, who's clearly at the top of the card, shove him to the side and acknowledge that he is below him. We'll see how that pans out. But to me, this seems more believable that Mustafa Ali could get, a surprise win out of this. But I'm not going to bank on it. I'm going to pick Gunther. I think Gunther has a little bit more left in him. I do believe he'll we're not really sure, at least my stats are not in front of me. Is he approaching, or has he surpassed Honky Tonk Man yet? Are we aware of the Intercontinental title history there?
Yeah, I don't think he surpassed him. I think it's the longest of the 21st century that they've been billing it, and it's the fourth longest in the title's history. So yeah. And I also think, I understand that you want to see an upset, or not maybe you want to see an upset, but you have an inkling of an upset. But I also think at the same time, if Gunther loses, it has to be to a credible opponent, not somebody who's 200 pounds who barely wins matches on Raw.
And I agree with that, and I did just pull this up. So Honky Tonk Man had one reign, and it was 454 days. Gunther now is at 349 days as of this recording on May 25th. Yep. So it would take him a little over 100 days to surpass Honky Tonk Man, and I got to think that that's going to happen, because we mentioned before how they would like to potentially, they always rewrite the history books with WCW. Let's be real. But with other things, they would love to make what current stars that they can believe in and have the faith in, that aren't in the past, that they can't do anything about, to further these records, i.e. The Demolition tag title reign that the New Day broke. We got Roman Reigns trying to, get a legendary reign. He'll be up over 1,000 days after this show. So this is another example of trying to further that lineage on someone new. and I will say that Gunther wins. I really have high hopes for him going forward. So hopefully he does get this record and then quickly drop the title so he can go for something else, because I really think the sky's the limit for this guy. Especially now that they put him on Raw, it seems like that he could be a fighting competitor when it comes to this new World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
As a dastardly brooding heel. So we'll see. I'm picking Gunther. I'm assuming you're picking Ollie.
I'm picking Ali. Yeah, I'm picking Ali. No, Gunther, come on. And I'm looking at the calendar now, and I think, yeah, if my math serves me correctly, it's probably going to be the end of September, early October, when that over 100 days he needs to surpass Honky Tonk Man. So really, 3 pay-per-views, maybe 4. That September pay-per-view could be where he's near 1,000 days.
Right.
I don't know if they've announced September yet, but
Not 1,000 days, but he'd pass the record.
Or not 1,000 days. I'm sorry, 100 days to surpass Honky Tonk Man's reign.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he could do it, and I think that they want to do it because right now he is 5th in longest reigns, and 3rd overall in singular reigns. Randy Savage, his only reign was 414 days, and he only had 1. So
yeah.
Gunther's on his way. I really think that they'll pull that trigger.
Me too.
Let's go into the triple main event. First and foremost, let's go in the order that I think these matches are worth, because
all right,
the Cody Brock match, I'm looking forward to it. Sure, like Cody and Brock are great, and I really enjoyed their Backlash match. We still have no answer as to why Brock Lesnar beat up Cody Rhodes after WrestleMania.
Yep.
Like, Cody, you lost your biggest match of your life. What do you want to do next? Nothing, because Brock
get destroyed by Brock Lesnar on a weekly basis. Yeah.
So not only is that happening, but we get this bizarre wrinkle last week where, Brock beats up Cody again and
twice, yeah.
Quote unquote breaks his arm. We don't know, and obviously that's a kayfabe injury, but they're tying it back to the real pec injury Cody suffered last summer against Seth Rollins, and how he fought through it at the Hell in a Cell match. And at the end of near the end of Raw, Triple H is back there talking with Cody, discussing this, being like, "Hey, I know you went through that match, but look, you got a broken arm. You can't do it, And to me, there's a couple things. First, why it's bizarre that they want to go for an injury adversity angle with Cody when he legitimately had one.
Yep.
And that was more believable than this, right? Because you could see it. I'm sure he could wear a cast and it'd be, he has one, but then he looks like Lex Luger. But at the same time, I'm getting weird feelings about Triple H trying to prevent Cody from going into this match. Like, why would Triple H care that Cody wants to do this, Yeah. So to me, I think, and it's funny that it's a day before Double or Nothing, a show where Cody Rhodes infamously took a sledgehammer to the throne. Are we potentially on the verge of a Triple H, Vince McMahon authority type character, at least to start with Cody Rhodes, by holding him back, furthering the adversity and preventing Cody from getting the title he wants? I'm not sure. We'll see what you want to say. Cody Brock, though, I got a feeling with this injury, they want 3 matches. They're going to get 3 matches, and I'm going to say Brock Lesnar takes this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got Brock, too, and I think we're on a track that's very similar, but it's going to be longer than what they tried to do with Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania 32. And the big difference is twofold. One, the fans are up behind Cody. They weren't behind Roman Reigns going into that. But Triple H was a guy that was adamant as a full-time, well, not a full-time, but as a part-time performer still, winning that championship to put over Roman at 32. I don't think it's going to happen just like that, but I think from an authority standpoint, Triple H is going to slowly but surely insert his way into this, where Cody's going to have a match against Brock this, at Night of Champions. He's going to lose because of the arm injury. And I do think something happens at Money in the Bank, where Cody potentially does not win Money in the Bank if he's in that ladder match, and then you get Cody and Brock at SummerSlam, probably in a no holds barred match, or some stipulation, maybe a street fight, whatever you want to call it, Detroit Rock City fight. So a new name, but I do think that Triple H is going to play a piece in this. I just don't know if they're going to pull the trigger soon. I think they're going to wait until the end of the year, moving into Royal Rumble season, because I think, ultimately the story needs to be Cody winning that championship. So how does he get there? And I mean, they've already slightly played in small seeds which was interesting, after WrestleMania, Triple H introduced Roman Reigns on Raw, right?
Right.
Like, and I was there in
Yep.
the crowd and was like, why is he like giving the like dap to
And
Roman? Like,
and
it's very
and
strange.
this was after. Was it after? No, it was. That was the first thing, and then what? A couple weeks later, when they announced the new title, he
Yeah.
buried Roman. So it's
Which is
like,
odd. Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
thought the
we
same
want a
thing.
title that people are gonna fight for every week, even though we have Roman. We're just choosing not to put him out there every week.
Yeah,
What the
and then
hell?
he also went along and saying, like, I would do the same thing if I was him. I negotiated myself into not defending the title. So I think there's a good opportunity for Triple H to be inserted into this. But then it goes back to this: if you insert him into this storyline, then you have him, then you have Roman, then you have Paul Heyman, then you have the Usos still in the bloodline potentially. Like,
Solo.
there's so many pieces that I just don't know if Triple H would fit. I'm sure they'll make it work because Triple H is smart and I think he's very creative,
Yep.
putting himself in there when he needs to. But I just don't know if now's the right time to insert him in this story. I think Cody loses this match. He gets his match number 3 against Brock. He wins that one. He thinks, okay, I conquered the beast. What's next? And then maybe Triple H kind of inserts himself somewhere where there's, maybe he has somebody under his wing that he's ready to. Maybe a Gunther without a championship is a guy that
Yeah.
Cody faces that we all know Triple H is high on. So it's all about Triple H's guys, even if we don't see it so far.
Yeah, he could almost be the invisible hand. And
Yep.
in regards to Cody and what happened on Monday night, to quote Stan the caddy, "Oh no, not the left arm."
Not the left arm.
So let's transition to that. Half the people we mentioned in another match that aren't a part of it, the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, undisputed tag titles. This is a interesting match. I put this above Cody Brock because it's more unpredictable than that match.
Yeah.
Because I think it's gonna go a couple of ways. I ultimately think KO and Sammy retain, but it's how they retain. And if they don't retain, that's really troubling. Because if they don't retain, I think it could be troubling for KO and Sammy, because why even have them have all these moments for nothing? You rip it apart after a month. For what? And for what would be, oh, well, the Bloodline has the titles now, but Roman and Solo kind of throw them at the Usos saying, hey, you couldn't do it. We did it. But I think that's like annoying and unnecessary to even do that. So to me, I'd prefer a Bloodline victory or a Bloodline loss because of the Bloodline. I think the
Yeah.
Usos maybe, incidentally on purpose,
Yeah.
kind of maybe cost Roman and Solo. We saw the friction between Roman and Solo when Roman bumped into him on accident the other night.
Mm-hmm.
The Usos have had their problems inside the bloodline, but we also know that Jay has a soft spot for Sammy. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. And again, this is just a vehicle to get Roman on the show, not defend the title, and celebrate 1,000 days. But I think at that biggest celebration so far, I do think we see the bloodline fall at least one peg down on the totem pole. What say you? Who wins this match?
Oh, man. So it's tough because I think that Roman and Solo should win. And the reason being is I love Kevin and Sammy. I do. But they're still getting great reactions. But it just seems like once they're detached from the bloodline, I don't know if people are going to care as much about the tag team division. They have great tag teams, no doubt. On Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, wherever they go, since they're the undisputed tag team champions, there's a lot of great tag teams. But the reason that the tag team championships right now are important is because it has always been and always will be connected to the man who runs the show, and it's Roman. Even if Roman was not in tag team championship matches, that tag team championship match, whether it was at WrestleMania or even the 6-man at Backlash, it all circled around the fact that Roman is lurking around and watching. And I think that's such a big point. Whenever you're trying to continue to elevate a championship, you got to elevate it to who is the most important. And in this case, Roman and Solo as tag champions, you can have them put those tag titles on the line against the Usos at SummerSlam and say, this is a battle of the bloodline, and say, you couldn't do this. And I mean, heck, maybe the first loss that Roman suffers is from a member of the bloodline, whether it be Jimmy or Jay, but that's
Jay, that would be incredible.
It should be Jay, absolutely. But then you have the strife between Jimmy and Jay. They're actually going to have to fight the tribal chief. Like, there's so much more intrigue on Family Battle now moving forward than there is with Kevin and Sami getting their moment, because they already got their moment. So I'm not sure what else they can do to continue to stay at the top of the tag team, at the top of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, without the bloodline being associated with them.
Yeah, because you were hesitant to say the tag division because there's still only one set of titles. So the division is just any tag team that wants to wrestle on either brand.
Exactly, yeah.
I see the intrigue on both sides. I'm kind of leaning towards the Bloodline Civil War at SummerSlam, because how you could do that is how you said, Roman and Solo win. You can, again, figure something with KO and Sami maybe. It's just unfortunate that they kind of are like an afterthought after having such a huge, momentous, 3 to 4 months leading up to Mania, even though it ended up with nothing, but they'll never be forgotten. But now, if you want to deteriorate the bloodline, that is a move where you could have the Roman and Solo win the titles. They throw them in the Usos' face, say, hey, you couldn't do it. And almost immediately, Roman and Solo could defend him on a SmackDown to pop a rating or something. Yeah. We don't know what's happening in June. But once it's Money in the Bank, SummerSlam seems too far away for me to believe, at least, that they could give the titles to Roman and Solo and have enough in between now and August 5th to successfully get the Usos not out of the bloodline, but cycled back to where they face Roman and Solo for the titles, and then you begin the decline. I think it's almost easier to get the decline started now by the Usos costing Roman and Solo this match.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think there's a way that this match can go wrong where they don't
that's what I like.
end up putting themselves in a bad situation.
I just don't have faith at the long term that we would like to see that they could do it. With the smart moves, that WWE might try to do it, but they never realize how much time that they really have in between. So they could pull the trigger in 3 weeks and realize they got a month and a half to SummerSlam. Oh wait, we got to fill this time too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, again, like you said, it's worrisome to me if Kevin and Sami win, and they get new challengers, they're gonna have to find another story. Because Kevin and Sami's story with Reigns and the Bloodline goes back almost 2 years, really, with Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble 2021, I think it was, where he faced Roman Reigns.
I think he fought him. Didn't he fight him
during the pandemic, right?
He did him a couple
back to back, yeah. So it goes back a while. They've been associated with this group for a long time. So, but at the end of the day, again, they don't have a mistake here. They have a lot of options, and it's the most intriguing match because of the opportunity that can come, after what happens next, the fallout next. And that's the best thing about episodic television. You want to tune into what happens next. And that's exactly what they've done with this storyline. Almost every single week, it seems they've just been hitting what's next. And you always have to tune into SmackDown.
Right. And I agree. That's some intriguing stuff. But I got to be honest, and especially now after looking at the cage match database, a match that happened, which I was unaware of, on April 28th, 2006 at, get this, NWA NLW, No Limits Wrestling, AJ Styles versus Tyler Black.
Wow.
They then, the next time they were in the ring together was that legendary, and I kind of mean that, Survivor Series 2016 match where Shane McMahon got knocked out by Roman.
Yep.
But the match that I really thought killed it, which I'm hoping that they revisit, was Money in the Bank 2019. AJ and Seth Rollins brought the house down. Absolute classic. We get this match for a brand new consolation World Heavyweight title. Forget the consolation stuff. Forget what the title being created means. This is an opportunity for one of two guys to get a lineage, be a part of a lineage that dates back to 2002. They decided
Yeah.
this is that world title.
Yep.
I honestly think the title looks great. I'm looking forward to seeing these guys wear this new title and like have it be defended. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We all have been waiting for someone new to defend outside of Roman, and this is where it begins. AJ on SmackDown, Seth freaking Rollins on Raw. If AJ wins, maybe he stays on Raw and maybe Seth goes to SmackDown or Cody or there's a trade or something. If Seth wins, no harm, no foul, but Seth almost seems obvious. I can't wait for this match. I have no reason to think that they are not going to have an absolute barn burner and tear the house down for this whole PLE. I think they have more than enough to do that. And I got to be honest, I really think it closes the show as it should. It is Night of Champions. You're crowning the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion here. The Mark side of me really just buys into Seth Rollins and his song and the chants, and I'm sure even in Saudi they're going to do his music and his entrance, and I think that's where the easy money lies. But I want to go where the good matches lie, and that lies with AJ Styles winning this title after being an NWA champion, a TNA champion, the WWE champion, being a IWGP champion. A legendary performer. He's done a lot in this industry. And for him to win a title like this as the first, of this new lineage of it, Seth has done the same thing. He was the first NXT champion, cashed in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania for the first time, like all these cool things. He fought for the first Universal title. I think AJ Styles, if he wins this match, could have plenty of good challengers come up. Cody. You could have Seth again. You have other guys on the roster. You could do an Ali if you wanted to. There's a lot of room if AJ Styles is the champ here. There is some room with Seth as a champ, but I'm going with the phenomenal AJ Styles to walk out of Saudi as your new World Heavyweight Champion. What are your thoughts, and how stoked are you for this match?
I mean, it's going to be a great bell-to-bell match, and I don't think there's anybody that is not interested to see the actual match. You can have thoughts on the championship title as much as you want, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether it's just a consolation title, whether it's not going to be viewed as important, which I think it's going to, because I think they're going to do a lot of things with this title, and it's going to be based on excellent matches, maybe a little bit more at times than long-term stories, and that's okay. There was a time period when the World Heavyweight Championship was better because of matches over the WWE Championship, because the WWE Championship had John Cena with it. And the World Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship main evented WrestleMania 24. It was Edge and The Undertaker. So it's not like that World Heavyweight Championship was ever, forgotten. It was at times whenever you continue to look at it later in the years. I mean, but at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing here is how do you build this title to be prestigious as it is? And you have both guys that could do that. I think Seth will win. I would like to see AJ win because AJ needs it more. AJ needs it more because you look at AJ Styles' career in WWE. You look at his WrestleMania card, which is actually incredibly impressive when you think about it. You go his debut match against Jericho, then you have Shane, Nakamura, and then WrestleMania 35. You have Randy Orton, 36, obviously the pandemic with Taker, had that hiccup at 37 in the tag match, and then Edge. And then if he didn't get hurt with Edge, he probably would have done something pretty important this year. So he's faced legends, he's faced Hall of Famers, he's had a championship match at WrestleMania. I always wonder, if you put the title on Seth Rollins, how much more important is he? Probably not much more important.
Right.
But if you put it on AJ, he's very important again.
Because Seth's already important. Seth is arguably the biggest face that they have outside of Cody.
Exactly. So
he doesn't really need the title.
He doesn't need this, quote, newish championship or this resurrection of the World Heavyweight Championship. And I say that, but then I think about everything I said, and I think about the fact that they barely gave AJ Styles time to talk about what this title means to them, and they gave Seth 6 separate video packages over 2 weeks. Like, how do you not give him that championship after this?
I mean, you make a good point there.
So I think so.
I tend to think Seth is going to win. I I just think that there's so much more on the table for Seth to chase it and to challenge for it and to be close. But I ultimately think he'll win it regardless. Like if it's on Saturday or if like in another show. Like I feel like he'll have this title in general. I'm not so sure if AJ doesn't win this match though he'll ever taste this type of title again. So I think if he wins this could be a solidification of, hey, now I've won this title. I never have to really go after this, and he doesn't have to feel like he's faded into obscurity just by losing the inaugural one. You'd love for him to win the first one and be already up in that upper echelon because it doesn't knock Seth down a peg at all.
No,
In fact, I think Seth could still be in the main event picture, and they could just run this match back at a future show.
They could do a 3 or 4 matches with this, to be honest. I mean, they could do Money in the Bank with this if you didn't want Seth in Money in the Bank or AJ in Money in the Bank. You could do Summer. I mean, this is a SummerSlam main event that I'd be interested in. I do think, to be honest with you, I think if Seth is not involved and AJ wins, I think the likely option next would end up being Finn Balor because you can have a Judgment Day OC type feud. You got to get something out of Gallows and Anderson. Like you have them, so why not utilize them? And we all know that they're more important when AJ is more important. So why not have those three against Dominic, Ray, Dominic and Ray, Dominic, Damian, and Finn. So there's more, I think, juice to that than Seth. Juice. I see what I did there. Orange or apple, by the way? What's your favorite juice?
I mean, orange juice is great, but
cranberry juice. We're off
and
topic.
vodka.
Get that UTI taken care of.
I like apple juice, but I think orange juice is good because you could have it, at any time of the day. I really don't think it's set for the morning. Only. I think you can have it at night. Yeah, coffee's not coffee at 12 o'clock at night.
Coffee is sex. Yeah. Anyway, so but at the end of the day, I think again my money is on Seth, but I would prefer to see AJ win.
And you mentioned Finn Balor, and it just it might mean nothing, but who did Rollins beat to get to this point? Finn Balor. So to me, it's either Seth wins and he got an automatic new challenger in Finn. Or AJ wins and you get an automatic challenger in Seth and you get an automatic challenger in Finn. And God, run Finn and AJ back because they've had incredible matches.
Yeah.
So, and I look at the tournament, who is involved. Any of these guys, so Seth and AJ, whoever wins, you've got Damian Priest, who's now, I would say, elevated to a main event status, and same with Finn Balor. Nakamura, I think, is back in a spot where I would believe him for sure.
Incredible.
Cody, we don't know what he's doing. The Miz seems to be just kind of only in the tournament because he needs to be in the tournament to eat a pin. Edge, you could get Edge and Rollins again.
Yeah.
You could get Edge and Rollins again. You could Edge and AJ Styles. There's a lot of options here. Theory, Lashley, Sheamus, Ray. There's a ton of talent, I think, that could go against either of these guys, but they need to make the right decision here. So I'm gonna roll with AJ Styles. I'm predicting AJ Styles to win. I want it to happen. I'm gonna go for it. I really think it's gonna be a killer match either way. But
I'll bet you a Drake's coffee cake. How about that?
The junior or the big boy?
The big boy.
You didn't say junior. So yeah, that is Night of Champions. It could have been King and Queen in the Ring, but we're getting a bunch of title matches instead. I'm happy with that. Can't be mad at that. And after this pay-per-view, we get set right into the summer. Money in the Bank, SummerSlam closing out the big summer selection of shows. And then we're right back in the thick of it. So this is almost a kickoff point to the summer of WWE. I'm really looking forward to it. 1 p.m. Eastern on Peacock if you're in the United States. Of course, 10 o'clock on the West Coast. Can't wait for this thing. It's been great having you on, Josh. We're going to have you on again here tomorrow for another rendition of the Juice Box where we discuss another pay-per-view somehow happening this weekend in the name of AEW Double or Nothing. So I cannot wait to discuss that with you. But for now, I'm Juice Springsteen. He is Josh Isenberg. And this has been The Juice Box. That was The Juice Box with Juice Springsteen. Make sure to subscribe to The Juice Box wherever you Listen to podcasts.